I'm not teaching, I'm publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test, part 106. The Victorian age. While doing standing yoga, and if you participate in standing yoga, better sit your own desk. In the last chapter we had the flag, and I wanted to go over them just shortly. The Union flag, this is the one of United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, or I think it's a state in Northern Ireland. The Union Jack, or the Union flag. This is the cross of St. George, so this is the flag of England. England has the straight red cross in front of the white red background, and this is the cross of St. Andrew. This is blue, and then we have a cross of St. Patrick that is diagonal, and that is the flag of Wales, the Welsh flag. And also the patrons. Of England, the patron is St. George. So St. George, England, and St. Andrew is Scotland. Scotland is St. Andrew. That will be a very easy question to miss, because it's just Scotland, St. Andrew. And Ireland, St. Patrick. And everything said to the dragon? No, nothing we don't know about the dragon. But maybe we will. So, the Victorian age. In 1837, Queen Victoria became Queen of the UK. Now we're referring to it as the UK for the first time. Since they started here talking about a long and illustrious history. The UK, so United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. Or today, United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. In 1837, Queen Victoria became Queen of the UK at the age of 18. So she was 18 years old. We know of someone else how old they were. And she was 1 week old when she became the Queen of Scotland, talking about Mary Queen of Scots, Mary Stuart. So Queen Victoria was 18 when she became the Queen Victoria, the Queen of England, in 1837. And she reigned until 1901. And these are almost 64 years. So Queen Victoria reigned in the United Kingdom. Why almost? Why use almost? I don't know, 63 or 64? Imagine the question comes, did she reign for 63 or 64 years? And we have almost 64. Now we must say, no, it's not 64, it's 63. But then you could say, but it were 63 years and 350 days. So technically, if we round this, 63 years and 11 months. So it's 64. I think that's it. It's something like 63 years and 10 months. So it's closer to 64 years. But it are not 64 in technical terms. So we can't say 64 years because it were just 63 years and 10 months. But to say 63 years and just not regard the 10 months, but it's also almost 64 years. So Queen Victoria reigned for almost 64 years, from 1837 until 1901, and when she became queen, she was 18 years old. Her reign is known as the Victorian age. We know of another age, we know of another period, the Elizabethan period, and that was from sometime until 1603. It was a time, we were not told when it started, the Elizabethan period. It must be something like King Henry VIII, 1547, then Edward, I think it was 6 years, Edward VI, 6 years. Then something like, we were never told, 5 years, Mary, and then Queen Elizabeth. So it would be 1560, 63. Are we actually never told? I looked it up, I think. It was until 1603. It was until 63. So, her reign is known as the Victorian age. So if people are speaking of the Victorian age, they mean the time in which Victoria was the Queen of the United Kingdom, and that was from 1837 until 1901. Let's do it. Now let's do Victoria complete and then yoga in one through. Or you can just skip if you don't want to do yoga. It was a time when Britain increased in power and influence abroad. The slavery was banned in 1807, that was before her reign, and the Emancipation Act was in 1833, which freed the slaves in 1833. So that means this is now after what we said about here. The commercial expansion and prosperity was sustained in part by the slave trade, and it's also not part of here. Charles II, that was 1670 something, was interested in science, and he founded the Royal Society based on natural, to promote natural knowledge. And for example, Isaac Newton or William Haley, Edmund, I said it before, probably, Edmund Haley. We're having David Holmes and Edmund Haley. Edmund. So that was not in the time, and it was not in the time of the abolishment of slavery. That was after that. We don't have much heard about that time, as we know of Industrial Revolution, which must have still happened. But Arkwright lived only until 1792. That would be 40 years before Queen Victoria became queen. And he was already known for the efficient and profitable way to run his factories and for improving the carding machine and something which is called horse-driven spinning mill. That means the Industrial Revolution lasted even. The Industrial Revolution was the rapid development of industry in Britain in the 18th and 19th century. 19th century would include, except of 1 year, the reign of Queen Victoria. But more or less that would be a part happening now, the increase in power and influence abroad of the United Kingdom, of the slave trade and the Industrial Revolution. Maybe it had a bit to do with the Battle of Trafalgar 1805, but it was already 30 years earlier. And I still searching for the other word I was searching for was general knowledge. I remember. So general knowledge I was searching for, but I still don't know what the word for it. Where the army the army led by Wellington won against Napoleon at Waterloo. I think I'm drawing up a conclusion, based also on other knowledge, that it is a whole process. It did not completely start with Queen Victoria in 1837. So her reign is known as the Victorian Age. It was a time when Britain increased in power and influence abroad, but it is a process which had already started before the Victorian Age. I would say at least with the Elizabethan period, maybe a bit with Civil Wars, not so really, but then, so it was a process already going on. But when Britain increased in power and influence abroad, it was when even supported by the reigning of Queen Victoria. It was a time when Britain increased in power and influence, 1837-1991. Within the UK, the middle class became increasingly significant, and a number of reformers led moves to improve conditions of life for the poor. We know that a strong middle class developed already after 1380, after the Black Death, where many people left the country and went into the cities. 1348. I said 84. It was 1284. The statutes of England were made by Edward I to get Wales into the kingdom, into England. The Kingdom of England, was it? 1348. Within the UK, the middle classes became increasingly significant. So we had never an explanation to it, but we're having quite something to go for. Maybe we'll get a bigger explanation. I know I have to hurry. About the middle classes. But they seem to be multiple, and they increased in significance, and also there were a number of reformers who improved the conditions of the poor, of the life of the poor. We know already that some people had during the Industrial Revolution were forced to work for many hours under dangerous conditions, and also children, and sometimes they were even treated more harshly. And there were a number of reformers, and something, for example, the reformers we have here, William Wilberforce, an evangelical Christian and part of the parliament, who was one of the people who turned the public opinion against the slave trade or the anti-slavery groups of the Quakers in the late 1700s. So a number of reformers led moves to improve the conditions of life for the poor. That's actually very short for the Victorian Age. But we will now do standing yoga, and so if you like, you can just go to the next part. We're having a feet standing. We have just 5 minutes, but we're having a feet standing together. And we're breathing in, and we're lifting the arms up. And breathing out and bringing the arms down. And we're breathing in and lifting the arms up. And we're breathing out and drawing the arms down. And we're breathing in and lifting the arms up. We're bringing the palms to touch. And breathing out, we're opening the hands again, we're opening the chest to the sky, we're leaning back and breathing out. Breathe again in, straighten up, bring the palms to touch and high over the head, the arms. And breathe out again, the arms down, the crab in the morning, open the chest to the sky. And breathe in, the arms again up, palms to touch. And now we are just leaning back, we read in the wind, the hands are staying together, we're leaning back and breathing out. Breathe again in. And breathe out and lean again back. And breathe in into the middle. And breathe out the arms down. One before the outside, the other one also. We are pointing the direction of the toes. Breathing in and lifting the arms up. We're breathing out, we're shifting just the upper part of the body over to the side. We're going down, taking hold onto the leg, up to the other hand. Breathe in again. And out back into the middle. Switch the position of the feet and we're breathing in. And out we're shifting again just with the upper part of the body over. And we're going down, taking hold onto the leg and looking up. And breathe again in. And out back into the middle. And now the standing cat and cow. 1 inch space between the toes. Apart from that, closed feet, we're breathing in. So we're going onto the knees with the hands, we're breathing in. And breathing out, we're doing a heel with the back, we're doing the cat. Breathe in into the middle again. And out, we're doing a belly with the mouth, we're doing the cow. And again, in into the middle. And out, a heel with the back, cat. And again, in into the middle. And out, a belly with the back, a cow. And the last round, breathe in into the middle. And out, a heel with the back. Again, in into the middle. Out into the cow. In into the middle. And out comes the round back, slowly up to the neck at the top, the backward shoulder. Now the chair, same feet position, 1 inch space between the toes, breathing in and lifting the arms up. And out. Now within, come up onto tiptoe, and we keep standing on tiptoes for the whole exercise. If you want to take a rest, you can. Breathe in. And out, we're sinking down into the chair. Now breathe in and come again up. And out again, down to the chair. I'm going to do it 2 more times. And breathe in again up. And out again down. And last time, breathe in and come up. And out and down. Now breathe in and come up. Out the arms down and the heels to the ground. Close the feet completely. We're breathing in and lifting the arms up. And out we're doing the down diving dolphin. Now breathe in and come up into monkey half lift. And out again down. Breathe in again into monkey half lift. Out again down.
Breathe in and bend the right leg. Breathe out, bend the other leg and straighten the other leg. Breathe in and straighten both legs at the same time. Out. Now breathe in and do the up bags. 1 and out. And we're done for standing yoga. I thank you very much, and until next time.